Hello everyone, I hope we're all enjoying the episode so far. So I thought it'd be really cool, like I said in the intro, to do a breakdown of the cost of roles, like the salaries of roles within the construction industry. I promise you this is going to be one of the most detailed breakdowns you're going to see on the internet. This is pretty classified information, so be careful who you share this with. Okay, so I've broken this down into 4 different types of roles. Construction management, aka myself, money men, aka quantity surveyors, designers, or also known as architects, and service managers, basically the people who manage the services, the M&E, which is mechanical and electrical install in buildings. As you can see, there's a lot of different roles here, so without further ado, let's break them down. So first of all, then, an assistant design manager. So that is probably the lowest on the chain in terms of designers. Well, in terms of all of the roles, really, you're looking at 32 grand per year to 41 grand per year. Now, there's a big gap between 32 grand a year and 41 grand per year. Let me explain why. You see, you can become an assistant design manager only with 4 years in the industry, and you can also be an assistant design manager with 7 years in the industry. Experience plays a big role within salaries, especially in the construction industry. Then moving on to a design manager then, so you start at an assistant, then you become a fully design manager, and then you become a senior design manager. So just a design manager, after you are an assistant, you go up to 43 grand per year to 56 grand per year, which is still very good. You will be very busy being a design manager. Very, very busy. And then moving up then to a senior design manager, you're looking at 61 grand per year to 74 grand per year. And they'll be looking at stuff in pre-con, so pre-construction. They'll be looking at stuff in construction. They'll be looking at stuff after we've handed over the job. So money men, the quantity surveyors, the people wearing the suit and ties and drive the BMWs. How much money do they actually make? Starting off with an assistant quantity surveyor then, you're looking at around 35 grand to 40 and a half grand per year, which is good money. You're going to be on site 5 days a week. You're going to be looking at invoices. You're going to be looking at the cost of packages on site. How much does the groundworks? What about the steel frame? What about the roadworks? What about the scaffolding? All of this stuff you want to be pricing up, and you want to be able to see if what we're paying the supply chain to do those works is a fair sum. You're calculating how much profit we're making as a main contractor, and you're also calculating how much we're going to cost and charge the customer as well. But then moving up to quantity surveyor, and that's going to really shoot up to 42 grand per year to 58 grand per year, depending on what job you're on. The bigger the job, the more money you're going to make. Then next up, after project surveyor, you've got a senior project surveyor, which is the highest. You can't get much higher than that. You're looking at 62 grand per year to 75 grand per year, which is a nice sum. Moving on then to the more exciting stuff, you've got the construction management. This is where the real money is made. Construction manager trainee, 25 to 30 grand per year, depending on what year you were in on your trainee scheme. So I'm on a 4-year trainee scheme. So my first year, I started on 25 grand, then I moved up again. I'm currently now on 29 and a half grand per year, which is averaging around just a little bit less than 2.5 grand per month that I'm earning, which is kind of sick, to be honest. So trainee salary then, year 1, you're looking at 22 grand per year. So I was making that at 18. Then I was making this at 19. I'm making this now as a 20-year-old. And then after this September, I'll be making that as a 21-year-old. So the trainee salary is very good, no matter what role you work as. Whether you're a design manager, you're a quantity surveyor, design trainee, quantity surveyor trainee, or a manager trainee being on site, you're making good money. So then moving on to an assistant construction manager. So after I finish my trainee scheme, I'm going to be boosted up to then 34 grand per year to 40 grand per year, which is a nice number, which is a very nice number. Moving on then to a building manager. So these guys are going to be managing the job. more or less. They're going to be looking at the packages within the job. So a package is what you call Like the groundworks is a package, or the steel frames is a package, or the tiling on the roof is a package. So you're going to be managing a package. They're also known as package managers. Building managers and package managers, they're the same people. So package managers, you're looking at 40.5 grand per year to 53 grand per year, which is really, really good. Moving on then to a senior building manager, you will not find a more chaotic job than this. This is the most chaotic job that I think you can have in the construction industry, because you're working in the office 5 days a week, like I do and all other managing construction managers work. But the workload that you have is beyond like what I thought possible. It's insane how busy senior build managers are. And for 53.5 to 62 grand per year, a lot of people don't change from building manager to senior building manager because they don't actually think that the increase in salary is worth the increase in workload. And then after that, you have an operations building manager, which then goes from 65 grand per year to 74 grand per year, which again you could argue isn't enough for how hard they work. But there are other operations managers that go up to 80, 90 grand per year, which then is good money. And then finally, then you have an operations director. So you have the operations director that manages the operating building managers. So this guy manages these guys who manage the rest of the team. Basically, I hope that makes sense. And the director operator, you're making good money. There's no more that needs to be said. But again, it's a chaotic role. You're driving up to London like 6 times a month. You're sleeping in hotels. You're networking with almost everyone. It's big things. You're managing up to £100 million worth of jobs on a yearly basis. Yeah, you can imagine how chaotic that is. Then service managers. So sometimes you have a service manager on your job, sometimes you don't. We do on the job that I'm currently working on, and they basically look at everything to do with the mechanical and electrical install, the solar panels, the distribution boards, the electrical wiring. All the quality of that is managed by the service managers. So a little breakdown of the costs: 35 to 40 grand per year as an assistant. As a service manager, you're looking at 42 to 48.5 grand per year. And then as a senior service manager, you're looking at 50 to 62 grand per year. And that is it. So I hope you found it useful. That is a pretty accurate detail of the salaries within the construction industry. Yeah, I hope you took something away from it. Back to the episode. Good morning. It is Thursday. We're back on site. Just entered through the turnstile now. Let me show you everything that happened yesterday, because there's been a lot. Starting with what was closest to me, let's see how the fences are getting on. It is all timber fencing, all professional, all fancy. We have a pedestrian gate there, which is cool, and we also have a vehicle gate there. I spent 10 minutes this morning snagging their works and found out that they haven't installed a lock on one gate. They've incorrectly installed the lock on another gate, and they haven't finished putting up the hoarding. So they will be back next week to finish off their works. Oh yes, let me just shut the gate. So that is meant to be up there. Fantastic. Moving over to plot 36 and 7, the windows were being installed, and then on plot 38, the second floor of the steel frame was flying. And then on plot 39 and 40, we've got the scaffolding going up there just beside me. So that's really cool to see. And then moving further into site, part of the foundation was poured yesterday for plot 44, which is great. And on plot 47, the foundation works are continuing. Yesterday I didn't get too much work done, so I'm going to go back up to the office, look at some emails, update of what happened yesterday. And also, I want a laminate floor plan for each of the houses, so I can go into the house and know exactly what I'm looking at. So I'm going to get them printed off and laminated, and then I can just get Ben the labourer to just put them up. So that's the next task for the day, if you will. As soon as I got in the office, I absolutely hammered down. So I spent the rest of the day pretty much doing all my paperwork. Plans were printed off and admin checks were complete. That was Thursday pretty much wrapped up. Now, there was a lot of progress made by all the workers on site today. So how much progress can we make on a construction site in 1 week? Well, let me show you. It's Friday. It's Friday. Yes! At the start of the video, I broke up the construction site into 5 key stages, starting off with the fencing out front. Now, at the start, we had Harris fencing everywhere, but now we've got timber hoarding, which looks really, really good. Then moving on to plot 38, we have the steel fixers now on the 2nd floor of the building, and that is pretty much complete, which is also really cool. On plot 39 and 40, the scaffolders are pretty much done, which allows the steel fixers to go straight from plot 38 to plot 39 and 40 once they finish where they are right now. And then moving on to the foundations, plot 44 is already half complete with a pour on Wednesday, and we're going to do another pour on Monday to complete that foundation. And on plot 47, at the start of the week we hadn't even started work on this plot, but now the drainage is already installed and it's ready for the foundation to be built, which is kind of insane. So we've mentioned at the start of the week there was no roof on plot 14 and 16, but now the carpenters have fitted the roof trusses, and that's looking more like a semi-detached house, which is awesome. And that is the weekly recap complete. That is another week in construction. That is another week on site. It's been a busy one. It's been a good one. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Take care.